Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. I'm here to do a review of a new movie that I just now saw. Um, when the trailer came out, I said I would do the review of it, and I'm when I watch it, I would do the review of it. And finally, I watched it, and that is Mufasa, the 2024 prequel to 2019's Lion King. Not the prequel to the original Lion King, which makes it very confusing. So there are different timelines. Basically, this one starts off with Nala, who's the daughter of Simba. Kiara, who's the daughter of Simba and Nala. And her mom is giving birth to another child, another lion cub. She's nervous. So to calm her down, Rafiki tells her a story, tells her, Timon and Pumbaa, a story. And then we catch up with two young lions, Taka and young Mufasa. Mufasa is an orphan. He's abandoned by his family, and he is adopted by the king of the lions. Um, and they also have a child, and that child is Taka. So basically, and then that's when, and they become good friends. That's when we get the song "I Always Wanted a Brother," quite possibly the best song of this entire movie. I always wanted a brother. I always wanted a brother. You know, you see it in all the TikTok and Instagram shorts and shit. Everybody with a brother is like singing that song, and they're going around, and it's basically this movie's version of "I Just Can't Wait to Be King." Barry Jenkins is behind the production of the movie, and Lin Manuel Miranda is behind the songs of Hamilton fame. So basically, they have a really close bond, but there's a threat, and the threat looming on the horizon is the outsiders. Basically, they're white lions. These white lions, were cast out of the Lion Kingdom due to their color. They are considered outcasts. So the lion community, Simba and Mufasa and Taka's community are against them, and they're not allowed in, but they do attack them often. So being that there's this constant war between the various lion communities, they're looking for somewhere else. They're looking for this place called Mile. And in this other place, they are they will restart their life over again and get away from these outsiders who are always, going to war with them. There's a couple times where the outsiders try to kill each other, and try to kill, the yellow lions, and it's basically solidifying the 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 friendship and the brotherly bond between Taka and Mufasa. So while they're migrating there to this other part of the Serengeti, they meet. That's when they meet Rafiki, and that's when they meet Sarabi. And Sarabi, Taka starts to fall in love with Sarabi. He develops a bond with her. Mufasa kind of ignores her basically until their lives are threatened by the white lions on the way, and it is Mufasa who saves her, not Taka. But Mufasa, knowing that his brother likes her, he he lies and says that he's the one who that he Taka was the one who saved her, knowing that it was Mufasa himself. Now Mufasa, but she already knows the truth, so she's thankful to Mufasa. So she begins to develop feelings for Mufasa and not Taka. Now, Taka now becomes jealous. He's let a female come in between the bond he and his adopted brother had. So his plan is to let the white lions into their new settlement and to destroy it. And that's exactly what he does. And because of that, the other lions turn against him. And what was naturally his birthright as being the son of a king is now turned over to Mufasa. And then Mufasa becomes the king of Pride Rock, where they rename it Pride Rock, and he becomes the king of Pride Rock and not Taka. And during this skirmish, which even Mufasa saves Taka's life, Taka gets a scar on his face and he is renamed Scar. So that brings us up to speed with where we are in the Lion King that we are familiar with, to where Scar is trying to regain his right. Uh, David is saying Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns is Simba. Yeah, David, I can see that happening. Scar is trying to regain his place as the king of Pride Rock, the leader of the Lions, not Mufasa. So basically, Scar, it was Scar's kingdom. You know what I mean? He was in the bloodline. He was his father, his natural born father, was the king, not Mufasa. Mufasa was the adopted son, not Scar. The kingdom belonged to Scar. Scar was right all along, basically. You know what I mean? But Scar lost that birthright because he put the other lions at risk, which he eventually, which he eventually does in the actual movie again. Because then when they move to Pride Rock, they have beef with the hyenas. And their beef with the hyenas, um, put the lions at risk. Remember when Scar takes over and Simba goes into exile, and Scar actually takes over, and he does marry Sarabi because he lost his kingdom, he lost his girl, he lost his birthright, he lost everything. Eventually, in the Lion King sequel, the cartoon version, Nala, who is, excuse me, Kiara. I keep saying Nala. Nala is Simba's wife. Kiara, who is Simba's daughter, does marry Scar's son. So the families are reconciled. But this is where it all began. This whole beef between stepbrothers. Initially, Taka and Mufasa are very happy to be uh, brothers with one another. Okay, what did I think of it overall? I thought it was a very emotional movie. It's a movie that, especially if you have a stepbrother or a stepsister or an adopted family member, it's a movie that will connect with you. Um, because The Lion King always hit on deep themes. Like the first Lion King, it hit on the death of a parent. This one here hits on the death of a parent and being adopted into a new family, and basically um transcending blood relations. Like we learn through this that it's not blood that makes you family, because Scar is the blood family member, but he doesn't become the king. Mufasa does. It's Mufasa doing the right thing, and Mufasa saving the other lions and putting himself at risk and saving Narabi that allows him to become king. He basically has to earn his kingship. It's not just given to him. So anybody that comes from an adoptive family or a blended family will definitely uh, um, find some messaging in this movie. Now, a common complaint about 2019's Lion King, the live action version, was that the animation was bad. Lisa had complained that it looked like you were watching National Geographic. A lot of people didn't like it for that reason, but they fixed it up here. The animation is way better here. They don't. It doesn't really look like National Geographic. It does somewhat, but the animation is better. There's this part where they're in the snow. They're in the snow, and Rafiki is making a snow angel, and it's just unbelievable that they're able to do that. What this suffers from is and nothing could beat the original Lion King in 1994. It was a landmark. It has the original Lion King in 1994 had some of the best music. I just can't wait to be king. Um, uh, Hakuna Matata. Those kind of songs. They were the Circle of Life, right? Everybody was singing them when we were in elementary school. Those of us that are millennials. That's why it's the top grossing Disney movie of all time. But this doesn't have those kind of songs. I Always Wanted a Brother is probably the best song of the movie, and that's about it. Elton John really did his thing in the first one, but this one, no. And, you know, Aaron Pierre, the voice of Mufasa, tries his best, but he's no James Earl Jones. R.I.P. to James Earl Jones, man. He nailed it out the park when it came to this, but he's not with us anymore. And uh, Nala is played by Beyonce, and Kiara, the daughter, is played by Blue Ivy. And they play minor parts. They're not really in it all that much because it's told through the eyes of Rafiki. Basically, it's a morality lesson because Kiara is nervous about her mom having another child, and basically, it's a kind of Cain and Abel type tale. It's very biblical, right? How two brothers can turn against each other, how they were brothers, but they turned against each other. And it also has elements to it that are not just biblical in the sense of Cain and Abel, but biblical in the sense of Jacob and Esau. Because remember, in the Bible, it was Esau. Esau was born first out of the two of them, right? And Jacob, as Esau was coming out of the mother, as Esau was coming out of Rebekah, Jacob was holding him by the heel. This is where the wrestling slang comes from, a heel, a bad guy. Jacob was holding him by the heel. So he was the original. He was the original inheritance was supposed to go to Esau, not Jacob. But then Jacob and his mom fool Isaac after in Isaac's blindness, and eventually the inheritance goes to Jacob, and the promise goes to Jacob. It goes from Abraham, Isaac to Jacob, not Abraham, Isaac to Esau. And Esau becomes bitter, and God, cast His wrath upon Esau's descendants in the Bible. Right? The same thing happens here. Uh, the wrath of Pride Rock is cast upon the firstborn son, the natural born son, the son of the bloodline, which is Taka, whereas the adopted son becomes the firstborn. It's kind of, it has a lot of Christian imagery because in the Christian religion, people as Christians believe that we are adopted into the kingdom of Israel. We're not Israel by blood, but we are grafted into the tree of Israel by our acceptance of Jesus Christ. We're the adopted sons of Israel. But we become, through our acceptance of Jesus Christ, we become the leaders of spirituality, the leaders of the church, the leaders of the new Israel, which is the spiritual Israel. You know, it's just like another example in the Bible of brothers, Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael is technically, he's the firstborn son, but it is Isaac who receives the promise. So I point you guys to in Galatians 4:28, 4 Galatians 4:28, 29. Paul makes it clear that Ishmael represents the believer's firstborn, born by flesh. Hey, Lisa, what's going on? Born by flesh. So Taka is born by flesh. He's the real son. He's the son biologically of his parents, right? So he's like Ishmael. You know what I mean? Born by flesh, but it's not the him that becomes the leader of the kingdom. It's not his bloodline. It's the bloodline of the adopted son. So again, biblical imagery. Christian people are the adopted son. They're like Mufasa. They're the adopted son of the kingdom, but they become the leader. Whereas the fleshy son, the natural son, the son by blood becomes the outcast, and that's Ishmael in the Old Testament, and that is Scar in the Lion King. So heavy biblical imagery right here, and I got to give the writers credit, Barry Jenkins, who worked on Moonlight and other movies in pointing out that allegory for that. But yeah, Lisa, thank you for joining us. I was just going over. Let me go over it a little bit for Lisa in case she was not watching. She just joined us. This is about Mufasa 2024 version. It's basically about two brothers. The story is Taka. He is the natural born brother of the king of the lions, and Mufasa is the adopted brother. And initially, at first, they're very happy to be brothers. But over time, things happen, and because of a woman, because of Sarabi, a girl that they are both interested in, uh, Taka turns evil and he becomes Scar. He feels like not just Sarabi, but also his inheritance. He was supposed to be, according to him, he was supposed to be the one that um, that got the praise. He belongs to the bloodline. He belongs to the family. Mufasa is adopted. and they clash. And it's a story about brotherhood. It's a story about loving your sibling, being your brother's keeper, another biblical reference, you know. And I liked it. It got pretty bad reviews, to be honest with you guys. Pretty bad reviews. The critics didn't like it, particularly Blue Ivy's performance as Kiara wasn't good. But again, Kiara and Nala, which is Beyonce's part, and Simba, they're not in the movie a lot. They're just in the beginning. The point of it is Kiara is nervous that she's having a sibling, and it's Rafiki teaching her that you have to love your sibling, and if you don't, you will end up like her father and her grandfather and her great uncle. You know, but watching this from Scar's point of view, you're like, damn, Scar was technically right. You know what I mean? He did deserve the kingship. He did deserve. I mean, he was the blood family member, but the movie tries to convey the message that it is not blood that makes you family. It is honor and it is duty. What Scar does by allowing the white lions in, the outsiders, because it's a racial dynamic too. You know what I mean? Like there's the white lions, they're white and they're casted out by the regular lions and they want to get back in and they're trying to attack this settlement. Both the original settlement as well as the new one. They're trying to uh, they're trying to take advantage. And Scar lets them in. So he is like, okay, how you want to be the king, but you're an irresponsible king. You're letting the outsiders in to try to harm the other lions. But he only did that out of revenge. He felt like everybody turned their back on him. The woman that he loved, his other family members. And in the song, I always wanted a brother. There's this other adult lion that says that the lion says he heard that Scar's father say he didn't even want that stray. And then uh, Scar says, don't you ever call him a stray. That's my brother. If you go against my brother, you're going to feel my claw. You know, within the song. So he was ready. And then another scene in the river, they fall into the river, foreshadowing. Mufasa falls into the river and Scar jumps in to save him. Scar was putting his life on the line for Mufasa. He really did love Mufasa like a brother, but it was Mufasa who let his lust for Simba's mother get the best of him, and they let a girl come between their brotherly bond. You know, So this made you look at Lion King in a whole new way. Like when you look at Scar now, you're like, damn, Scar was right. This was his kingdom. He did deserve it. Mufasa didn't deserve it. Simba didn't deserve it. They are adopted. They're the adopted bloodline. You know, it was an interesting take, but a lot of people didn't like it. Again, the animation is like Lisa was saying, like National Geographic shit. But they do a little bit better in this one than they did in the last one. In trying to make it less National Geographic ish. But this has a good story, man. I say give this one a chance. I give it a C. I give it a B plus, man. It's something that resonated with me because I'm not adopted or anything, but like sometimes you feel like when you have a sibling, they betray you sometimes. You know what I mean? They don't. You know, your parents might love them more than they love you. You know what I mean? Like, and there's jealousy there, or society, like in the case with the girl, might love um, them more than you. Like, like you're looking at this movie and you're like, damn, how could Mufasa do this? You know what I mean? Like, even though Nala already knew. I mean, not Nala again. Sorry, keep getting the lionesses mixed up. Narabi, Simba's mother, not Nala, his wife. Narabi, Simba's mother. Sarabi, Simba's mother. Uh, she she known that it was Mufasa that saved her, right? It wasn't Scar that saved her. So she fell in love with Mufasa for that. But he could have been like, you know what? I know my brother likes you. I know, he's interested in you. So I'm just gonna step off and I'm not gonna be interested in you. But he didn't do that. That's what causes the issue between them. Is the love of this woman, the love of Simba's mom. You know? But overall I liked it. It was good. It was very good. A lot of biblical imagery, a lot of uh, sibling stuff. You know, there's sibling rivalries in in a lot of different stories, man. Brother against brother is one of the most classic tales of all time. The first Lion King movie had a lot of biblical imagery too, because you could look at Simba as like a Jesus, right? Simba was born to be king. He was, but he went in exile, right? And he tried to live a normal life, but he couldn't because when he was gone from his throne, the world being symbolized as Pride Rock, went crazy. So he had to return. You know, he had to return. He had no other choice. You know, the only downside to this though is the songs. I wish this. I always wanted a brother. That's the only song I like in this one. But the first one, the first Lion King, 1994, had a lot of good songs. It was the best Disney movie with the best songs. Every kid would sing it. Uh, you know, I just can't wait to be king, especially Hakuna Matata. You know, thank you guys for contributing. Thank you, Lisa and David, for contributing. And overall, man, this is a good one. This I don't like hardly any of the Disney remakes. I haven't seen the Snow White one. I heard it's shitty, but this one was an interesting twist on one of my favorite Disney movies. Peace.